Hey guys, Feral here. I'm back on the Spumcraft server, taking a little bit of break from ZombieCraft at the moment, and just wanted to show you some of the work that's been done over here at the Guardian Farm. Now, I wasn't the one who finished clearing up all the rest of the terrain around here. I actually don't know who actually sat down and finally got the rest of the water out of the way, but I'm incredibly grateful that they did, because that's let me move on with doing some of the work on the farm. Now, I did say when I originally started this I was going to keep it very much the original temple. That plan's kind of fallen on the wayside pretty much just because of how massive a problem these spawners are that are under here, and it's necessitated taking a completely different approach to this, where I've had to actually build, before we were having guardians roaming around everywhere, so I've actually had to build basically a containment screen out here, just to keep any of them that are spawning in the top up there. Now, for the time being, what I've done is I've run this over to, basically they'll eventually hop down to here. It's lava down here. They jump around for a little bit and they get all burned up, with the exception of a handful that are coming from, I think there's some spawners over on these side sections here that I have to try to track down. But either way, they're still isolated in here. There's no way out of there short of knocking a hole in the wall there. So the intent is that's kind of killing chamber number one. It's all basically glass surrounded, because I wanted it to be set up in a way that you could actually kind of see through and into it. It's still lit up on the inside, because obviously I've got to keep zombie spawns at minimum. So here's where kill chamber number, I guess that one on the far side was actually kill chamber number 2. This is kill chamber number 3, which I have to come back and do some work on at a later point, because unfortunately I'm running out of time to do anything on the server right now. So I've cleared out kind of this little interior chunk, this corner of the temple, and what I did was just kind of opened this up above. I didn't take any of the water out here, and this works in that they come out, but the problem is because I've got the lava layer down there and not up here, they're not dying by the time they hit the bottom. They're falling into the lava, and that's stopping their fall, and they're still mostly full health when they hit the bottom. So I have to come back through here, bring the lava layer up one, which is going to be a little tricky in some spots here because of where signs are, because lava layer is going to be here. I'm going to have to run signs across this whole thing, so I'm going to basically seal this all off again. The intent is to then bring it down here. This actually still has to probably go down a bit just so I can get the proper killing height. For now, I've got it blocked off, so that way I'm not accumulating any guardians that need to be killed and start cutting against the efficiency of the original kill chamber, which is still very much intact over here. This is the way up. I've kind of just thrown this together. Same thing over here. This is obviously not done up here. I actually came over to because I need some blocks for, I need some sea lanterns for what I'm building, because I still haven't finished off the bridge technically. It looked like it might have been finished in the video, but there's still plenty of areas I need to put some more blocks in. So this is kind of the top. It's still the original height, but I've kind of cleaned it up a little bit. This is going to be sealed off, so then that way we can kind of come in here. And once this corner, where I've got the water flow going, once this is actually properly set up, the idea is it won't take too much effort to basically re-divert. Come in here and kind of rip out all of this stuff, let them fall, and eventually get their way over to here, which is not all that reliable, but the intent is to keep going. Those signs are based on the outside of this block here, basically. So the intent is to keep bringing this farm over, and basically just keep extending it until the entire thing is just one giant drop farm. Obviously, it's going to take a lot of lava to do. It's also going to take a lot of signs to do. I'm fresh out of both at this point. I came over with almost a full stack of spruce wood, and I blew right through it, and just putting all this together. This has actually taken me about 5 hours to build up, almost closer to 6, really. And that's another reason why I'm kind of saying, yeah, I'm going to show this off, because actually, no, this is 4.5 hours, because I spent time over in Equinox Seaside, which I'm going to show that to you guys next. But yeah, I kind of need a break from the Guardian Farm there. But the good news is it is working enough. That old kill chamber is working well enough that letting it kind of sit there, if you park yourself up at the top, or really while I'm working on this, I had enough to build all of those sea lanterns. just so I could start lighting the upper deck. And I don't think it's going to take too much more, really, to make that a really top-notch spawner. Even just a simple fall and kill mechanism. And yeah, I'm going to need tons of hoppers, but yeah, well, you know, that's just the way it is. But unfortunately, I've also taken a lot of damage to my armor fending off Guardians, so I'm going to have to probably think about repairing those sometime soon. Yeah, I haven't been around on the server much lately to see anything new, but it doesn't really look like much has been going on lately. Patrick's underwater base, which I don't know if he's actually got anything. Kind of tempted to pop in over there, or pop over and see. I know Rex has been on the server quite a bit lately. But let's go take a look at what I did over here at the Spruce Island Bridge. And what I did is, if you saw it on the little point-in-time replay that I did, you saw that I passed through the wall at the very end and into a lava pocket. And yep, that lava pocket's there. It's pretty sizable, and I knew it was there because you could hear the lava at the end, at the wall where I had been building. And so that's actually still here underneath that. I was tempted to leave the top glass, but there's really not much left up there. Or make more of the floor glass, but I hit the point where I needed to transition away from this design over to something a little more suitable for the hallway, because obviously I've got to stop worrying about, I got to not use so much nether quartz in this build. So the color on the floor kind of transitions up along the walls, and the same thing with this, that everything kind of shifts as you head over here nice and smoothly. You wind up over here, which is right at, I don't know if you'll necessarily recognize it. Oh, there's some blocks there, I didn't realize were still there. This is actually right in the big cave that I did, which is right over here, which is therefore not too far away from the old bridge back over to that. I was going to come in and destroy the bridge. I think I may have to rethink that plan, or at least go back and get some wheat. So yeah, see, I now have a clear way over here, which is great. I can get in, get back up to the island, and really start building. Now, the intent over here is to, well, I should preface this with saying I need to stop doing builds in creative before I come onto the server and do them, because this is the only thing that's actually survived of the creative build. There's a whole other section to this that I had planned, a giant reception hall in here. Spruce Island testing is where I've been doing my testing. Unfortunately, this world is corrupt. If I pop up into the air and you look over here, I've got chunks that are missing. I can't actually go down into that, but the chunks are definitely missing. And then I've got part of the bridge that's supposed to be, this is the part that I did build on creative, it's supposed to be over here. It's over there, and even if I rebuild it over here, when the game saves, it moves it over there. So that's a little annoying, to say the least. But this is actually kind of also an interesting, you can kind of see the cross-section of how I built everything over here. So it's just the two stairs there, with 2 rows of stairs, the single row of stair there, the dirt, there's those sea lanterns that I'm putting in. They're hidden in ways so that way they're able to provide light all the way up the whole side of the structure, and even to the interior, but not be something that you're going to see when you're walking along the inside. So it's very much following the kind of the thing that I did for a couple spots in the Founders Hall over on the last world. But this was kind of what I had planned for, was this, and it's still very much a thought in progress, and has really kind of hit a point where I don't have any ideas, to be honest with you, on how to continue building that. But down here, if we go down the tunnel, because this was all built before I knew that the lava pocket was over there, this is what I'd intended to show up at the end of the tunnel. So there's a big chandelier in the middle. We're carrying the color stripe up and into the build area, and the doorways here, just for the intent of having some sort of door there, but not anything like a traditional door. And of course, these were going to be the paths up. Well, you know, and all this being based off of the old Spunwhack, the old world, Whack-A-Wood never, All this is based off the old Wackelwood. I can't say it anymore. Wackelwood server map, the stairs up on the Nether. Now, like I said, I haven't really figured out what I'm going to do with this. And part of it is I don't even necessarily know what I'm going to do with the room. And it's kind of just turned into this, so it's just like I'm going to run a stairway up here, and that's going to kind of go around this little water tank here. This was the lake that was down here, and the islands just spawn lakes underwater, and sometimes a cave will run across them, so you get kind of floating pockets of water. Well, this is what it is. It's just contained now. So thinking about wrapping this around, over, and up out the back, and then this will be a path that I kind of use to go around and provide the backdoor access to the land up above. Again, the intent with this whole area here is not to actually put in anything that really normally leads to the top. Once I finish it up, this will probably wind up becoming repurpose the tunnel to do something else. The intent is to make it so it comes over here and there's a giant, well, not so giant, a castle atop this thing, and it's cut off from ground access, so that way I can take down the lighting on the rest of the island and not have to deal with mob spawns. Now, unfortunately, I kind of raided all of my resources to go over and deal with the Guardian farm, because I got to a point and it's like, well, hang on here. This is a great idea I've got for the build here, but in order to finish this up, I really need sea lanterns, because these are all intended to be sea lanterns on the side here, and I've got the next problem is clay, because there are no clay mesa biomes on the server. So the only way to get clay is to actually go out and raid the ocean islands, because that's where pretty much the plugin is naturally spawning clay, which works. But I've pretty much raided. I think I've got the furnace back there is working on one of the last batches of clay that I've got. So there's not a hell of a lot. Yeah, and I've burned through all of my blue dye because I had so much leftover light blue glass from building this that I said, oh, I'll take it over to the Guardian farm and use it over there. And yeah, so definitely some work that needs to be done. The great thing about this, though, is this is a lot simpler of a build so far than what I had originally planned. I may just kind of take you guys over to show you that next. But if I come over here, you might have seen it when I was coming in. You may recognize that from the little addition that I put onto there's on the sale of the Wolfsbane is this little banner. It's getting hard to tell what I've actually recorded because there's so much of the footage that I record that I just kind of drop these days. Just because it's like, well, if I just drop this piece, then I can move on with that, and I'll catch up to it later. But the banners that you saw, it actually worked for once. The banners you saw, I came over and actually worked them into the Wolfsbane over here. Actually, I think there was some stuff that you would have seen on the time-lapse video for the last one for Stormcraft. I don't think it was necessarily the banner, kind of the emblem being up there, which I really do like. And I really wish I could have put it on the front of that too, or on the front of either of those top masts, but they're just too small for that design. But the other thing that I've done, are you back again? You get one little patch of dirt when you're working with the Skyworld Islands, and it's just Mob City. So the one thing I have done, obviously, Wolfsbane flagship of the fleet. I don't know if there's going to be a fleet now because really the amount of work that it takes to put this together is quite a bit. So yeah, this has been kind of left open. I'm still trying to figure out what to really do down here, but you can see I've cut in some holes for windows or cannons. If I do cannons, it's going to be a little tricky. I'm definitely going to have to take a ship out here and kind of use that to pilot along and put the dispensers in so they're put in properly. That's about the only thing I can think of as a dispenser, because I don't think the droppers have the right looking port to them, and a furnace isn't going to look all that great either. But that's just kind of the intent to get the, a little bit of color separation going on here. And then up here and this is also kind of a little different too, because I got tired of. I couldn't understand why some of the rooms were split up like they were, so I kind of did mess around with the design a little bit and made some modifications to them. But there's my credit to Colt Coyote there, and actually, Rex is here, cool ship, had to see it for myself. What I am going to do... No, I'm going to leave that there. The furnace, actually, yeah, let's take everything down here, because I really shouldn't have everything. The reason the furnace was still over here was just in case I had to move the ship again, but I'm pretty happy with where it's parked right now. The biggest problem, and that's why I didn't show it on the time-lapse video, was trying to get this placed. You don't see it on the... It's not on the original video I had of moving the ship, and it's not showing up on the time-lapse, or the point-in-time video, because, unfortunately, it was literally a point in time, and because I was all the way over by the Spruce Island, this chunk actually wasn't loaded here. As you can see, I'm really dangerously close. Well, not so dangerously, but I'm very close to the island there. I mean, you probably could, honestly, jump off the top of the island and easily hit the sail. Easily. So I've been a little worried about the fact the Swamp Island's not lit up, so there's the mobs to worry about and everything, so... Little bit of a problem there, but I think it's turned out pretty well in the end. Downside is you can't really see the ship all too well because of the design of this, which I can't really think of a good way to work around it because fences are going to be just as intrusive. But yeah, she's still all in one piece at this point. I'm not exactly looking forward to what happens the next time we have a lightning storm and it's for some reason the game glitches out and it doesn't think that this fire is going to be put out. But for that design to all be movable, I mean, this was all moved at once over here to the last. You know, I threw up the last of the sails and the last of the back sail and you know, moved all of it over to the island to this spot at once. It's amazing just how well. It's actually great having that kind of thing, having the ships plugin, the Movecraft plugin, because it just makes it so easy to do a mega build. Okay, that's not a mega build. We'll call that a decent build. You know, to do a build like that, sitting right here, almost next to the supplies. I mean, you saw me run off screen more than a few times in the time lapse of building it to grab more supplies in there. I mean, it's all right there, so. It's just a shame it didn't really fit all well there. I'd have to dynamite that whole side of the island there to have made that fit with any decency. And then the other problem is if I wouldn't have been able to go too much lower because of the way that water works with the Movecraft plugin, which with the way we're set up, we don't have submarines, so you can't take a ship and land it in the water. Which sucks, but, you know, what are you going to do? It's still a pretty neat plugin. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to do too much with this path. I mean, I kind of like that it's this weird offbeat path, but at the same time, it's kind of odd that it just transitions from the coarse dirt path over to this. But I do like that it comes out of the hillside like this. I'm really... Oh, I got bunnies on my island now. You're the first one I've seen. Hello, bunny. Nice to meet you. Here, just can you get out of the weeds so I can take a look at you? Aw, this is cute. So yeah, and like I said, I've definitely got to go out and get more clay if I'm going to continue to use it as a building block in here. And I really do, because I don't, you know, between that and also, like I said, finishing off the Guardian farm so that all of this is properly lit up. Because if I remember right, if I get the sea lantern up here, I can take down all the torches on both sides of here because it'll keep everything in here nice and perfectly lit up. I think I also said I was going to deforest the rest of this, but I think I'm going to kind of leave those there. That's kind of like the edge of the main forest. But yeah, the building's definitely going to be going where you see all the hills here. Actually, I think I can take this out now because the cows and everything have decided to depart the premises. And you can't change your mind now. I'm building. Let's see. This is the fun part of any build when you're on a SkyWorld map is not that I have a problem with this bridge, but like I decided when I was going to be starting on the server, I said the whole idea behind these bridges was they were something that you would either be upgrading or you could do selective, basically do selective part replacement on, essentially, or just rip them out entirely after you've built a new one. And that is decidedly the case with this island. I'm tempted to do something with that little tiny island over there, but I just don't know what. It's kind of too far away from the harbor to make sense for a lighthouse. Especially because you're not really going to see it. That's the big problem I've got now is I'm kind of hitting the point where I'm getting diminishing returns on building anything because you can't see it. I mean, right now you can barely see the Wolfsbane sails from over on the main island. So that's where I'm at with the tunnel. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I'll look at the progress on the Guardian farm. And again, I really owe someone a debt of thanks on the server whoever was going through and finishing up on the water removal, because that was killing me. So anyways, I'm going to call it there. I've been Feral, and I will be back in the next episode. Take care.